Hello everyone. Good Friday afternoon. My name is Johannes and I'm here to talk about narrative and how we make Web3 suck a bit less, hopefully. Let me start with a bit of context. We are currently living in what we call the value-driven world. Now, what does that mean? If you look at the history of how layer 1s came to be, you see that throughput is very limited and each transaction has a pretty high cost. So any application needs to exist under these limitations, and that's what led to DeFi becoming kind of key-killer application, because in DeFi what you have very few transactions on chain, and each transaction individually has a very high value. Tooling to automate DeFi has basically built around those principles as well, and basically built to be working well with these requirements. Now, we are moving towards what we call the volume world, or the low value, high volume world, under which you have a new generation of infrastructure, like it was Polygon, for example, Solana, Arbitrum, all those kind of newer generations. And what they allow is to have a lot higher throughput and a lower cost per transaction. Now, this very much aligns with this original idea or vision of Web3 of basically building a decentralized internet or building decentralized business models. Some examples here might be Lens, social media, gaming, which is now enabled by this new infrastructure. However, at the same time, tooling doesn't work the same way. You need different types of tooling to be able to automate that, and that's what we do at Narif. So Narif is built for the volume-driven world. So what do we do? Let's take a step back. How does a DApp look like? Now, a decentralized application typically consists of three parts. We have the blockchain, which is the thing where you control the infrastructure. On top of the blockchain, we have smart contracts. Smart contracts are the business logic, is where developers build the different processes which make up that specific use case. And then the only thing you might also need is some kind of user interface which allows you to interact with this application. That's the theory. Practice looks quite a bit more like this. We have a lot of surrounding parts to those three core parts. We call those the non-core parts. Right? It might be things like emails, notifications. You might want to send notifications to new users. You might have maintenance tasks. You might want to run events once a day, once a week. You might have to integrate off-chain data in oracles. You will have to deploy your application cross-chain because we're moving towards a cross-chain world. All those things, they actually use our infrastructure. Now imagine if you build a DApp. I mean, quick question: how many of you are developers or somewhat technical? Some, good, most actually. So imagine if you want to, very simple example, do a cron job. So you want to rebalance something once a day. How do you do that? What you do is you run a server, and that server triggers this transaction. Now to do that, you need to actually have a private key on your server, right? This from a security perspective is horrible, and you're also using, Web2 infrastructure to run Web3. That's just one part. In larger applications, this becomes a good hassle. You need to build all those non-core parts. You basically need to build parallel infrastructures. You build decentralized parts, but you also need to replicate everything in the Web2 world because you need to automate it, and that costs quite a bit of money. So typically about 20% of the cost, which you will find in running a larger app, goes just in the maintenance of those non-core parts. Because the core parts are easy to maintain, right? Once they're on chain, they're on chain. You just need to audit them and build them properly and they work. Not so with non-core parts. Now, at the same time, everyone needs the same parts. Like most applications need some kind of notification system where you want to inform your users about how to use it. Most applications need some kind of not rebalancing, but maintenance tasks which you might run once a day, once a week, once something happens. So those processes are always kind of similar. That's what we're trying to do with Narrative. So what we've built really here is this up here quite free. What Narrative does, it's a platform, and I'll basically go into a bit more technical details in a second. We'll actually try it out together. Is you can do stuff that you can run cron jobs, you can do crossing transactions, the whole thing is multi-chain. You can send out notifications, for example, if you want to listen to someone posting something on Lens, you can build that, just send out, let's say, an email or notification on Slack or whatever your choice is. All completely trustless. Now, how do we do that? We run a separate network. We call it the Narrative Network, and this Narrative Network is a permissionless network on its own, and we use, and now I'm getting a bit technical, just trying to keep it short as well. This network uses a technology called threshold ECDSA, and the threshold ECDSA basically allows you, in the context how we're using it, to sign transactions without having to have a private key. So instead of relying on individual private keys to create security, you rely on the whole network, which basically is backed by a token on its own, which runs a consensus mechanism, which you can secure in an existing consensus mechanism if you want or if you choose to do so. You stop having that counterparty in that platform risk. Narrative is currently live on basically those exchanges, all EVM based. I'll hand out some codes afterwards, so we were super curious to see what you guys are building with it. Now, enough talking. I want to do a very quick demo and show you what this looks like, and happy to take any questions you guys might have. Very good. So I'm going to log into the application really quickly. I'm going to pull out my MetaMask, my phone. Transaction. Now, what I can do in here is I create a workflow. I'll do just a very, very simple workflow and call it test notification. And then what I want to do here, just to show you an example, I want to take an on-chain notification or on-chain action, and whenever this thing happens on-chain, I actually want to go and send. Sure, how could you see what you see here? I want to send basically a notification to my Discord. So I'll choose here an event. So basically, at a trigger, I listen to an event, which is on-chain. And just select that. Cool. Now I can start configuring it. I actually want to use Polygon CKEVM now because we're doing a very simple one. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to use the moon phase. Because we actually, just last weekend at the ETH Lisbon, we built this moon phase oracle, which also uses Narrative the other way around to calculate and to push moon phases on chain. So here I have the events. You can see them on here. Update moon phase, right? So whenever the moon phase is updated, this event is being triggered. What I do here, I just copy an address. I'm here using CKVM and new contract. And it automatically pulls the API. And now I can just select moon phase updated as an event, and I can filter in here. But that's all I need to do, and then I can do funky stuff. For example, I can say when a condition I only want to when I have a full moon, right? The condition now would be, let me click on it. Basically that's the phase, and it needs to be full moon, which is represented as a 0 actually in the contract. Only when there's a full moon I want to, let's say I want it by E, okay? So if basically it's not a full moon, I do nothing. If it's full moon, I have an action, and I do a transaction here. Right, and basically, it's actually not trivial because there's no proper dexes on CKEVM. So I need to find dex first to be able to do that. But now then I would literally just, I'm using this as an example here as well. Right, actually I'm using something else. I'm using another The moonwalk is another part we built. So I'm just going to pull this smart contract here as an example. Basically, transaction here. Once again, now this is cool. I can do cross-chain stuff, right? I can here select CKEVM, but I could also use this event and do something on a different chain if I would choose to do so. But just an example, I'm also using CKEVM and pasting that contract, and now it pulls. Let's say I have deposit. Just make it simple. Okay, and the amount I want to deposit 100,000 quid. Cool. That's it, right? And I'm not going to publish it because I don't actually want to do that. But that's really.
It's not for work yet.
Sorry?
It's not for
Yeah, very true, very true. We're going to publish it.
I don't know, maybe
Alright, to map on my
I don't want to
medals.
wreck you.
I already got wrecked, to be very honest, there, because I put $100 in there, and I found out that the liquidity of the one X, which has a pool-matic ETH of $350. So I have a bit of slippage.
Yeah.
So now it's asking me to change the network to Polygon mainnet on MetaMask. Loading, sorry, that's, we're still early. Come on. Maybe I have to cancel it and start it again because it doesn't pop up on that side. Let's try again. Come on, yeah, now we're up here. Okay. Cost me 0.03 matic to deploy.
Are these workflows public? Are they readable?
Only that they exist. You can see that they exist. Now, right now, it's in alpha stage.
And then you publish that.
Sorry?
And then your wallet publish that.
And then my gateway will publish it. I signed, yes. Yeah. Well, I can see, so technically, I registered in my gateway contract, so yes, I can see basically down the line who published it. But you don't, it's published, as you can see.
That's fine.
But you don't see the actual configuration.
Okay.
Right, you will now, right now we're running the nodes, right, so it's not completely permissionless yet. Anyone who would run a node would see conflict workflows, but we're currently implementing secret sharing, so that you actually can have certain parts of your workflows secret, that you don't actually see, for example, configuration files like API keys, secrets. So now let's go to the pending still. Sometimes it takes a while. It's active. You see, now it's active. So whenever, actually, should I do it?
Do what?
Actually,
Trigger
trigger moon phase.
Yeah.
Do I have? Yeah, okay, because I can actually do it. So no, it's not. It's I don't want to. I'm not sure how much ETH I put in there. But yeah, I could now trigger the moon phase.
because you deploy the contract.
Yeah, and also I'm depositing basically. I used just a random contract deposit, so I would basically just deposit my money into a random contract, which is not necessarily something else. I'll have to stop that workflow again. So yeah, but that's really what Narrative is all about, right? Happy to take any questions like that.
I saw an off-chain event. I saw an off-chain event trigger that was grayed out.
Yeah.
So you don't support any of
No,
it?
no, it's not a trigger. You can basically, once it's running, you can use off-chain data, right? So you can basically call an API, a webhook, so you can do. I can show you if you want.
But it's not enabled yet, right?
The webhooks are, but the triggers are not.
Ah.
So you cannot trigger it, but you can use it and like here, like the webhook, where you basically just call HTTP request and you
So
can use that.
It's actually already possible to get a webhook from the snapshot API that shows me there's a new proposal for this snapshot space, and then coding on it, right? And then doing something.
Yeah, you could basically run every minute, you could run the workflow and check if there's a new.
There's a new event.
Exactly. Yes, you could do that, yeah, you could do that.
For sure. Very cool.
Sorry, it's actually, maybe it's just me, but it's hard to hear you through the mic. So,
Am I talking too loud?
I don't know, it's very cool maybe, but I'm just trying to understand, when you publish a workflow, I mean, that thing's going to potentially submit transactions on your behalf, right? So
Yeah.
it kind of
Yes.
essentially, as a whole, knows your private key.
No, how it technically works is I create a gateway contract. So I have so in my case, right, I have to follow in CKVM. So that's, if Nerif executes something on your behalf, the contract will sign that. And the contract can only sign things, that's where the whole security comes in, if the Nerif network as a whole agrees that this is the correct transaction I want to do. So how it works is, I basically, I create a workflow. This workflow, as a result, has potentially call data. Now each node, which we're running, so yes, right now there's counterparters because we're running it.
Yes.
But each node basically then signs that thing with their own private key and submits that signature, gossips it, and submits it on chain. And on chain there is a kind of a multi-sig, which checks if at least 2/3 of all the participating nodes have signed the same payload. And only if that is the case, it then executes it. And therefore, in a sense, you rely on the network to be working, to be not compromised. And that's where a token comes in, where you have a proof of stake, because if one node misbehaves, in a sense, you sign something else, all the other nodes see that, so they get slashed and can get kicked out. So the beauty of this DKG is that it's very gas efficient. So you basically have only one transaction on chain. But most of kind of heavy lifting is off chain. And the other thing is, it's dynamic. So each round, nodes can get kicked out and new nodes can get added without the address changing. Is that exactly or?
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe I should come and chat to you afterwards.
Sure.
Because I'm like, can you tell it to pull money out of your personal wallet on a monthly basis?
No.
Okay.
I can create a safe
Yeah.
where I give my gateway
Yeah.
access to my safe. So basically the money which comes out here, as a standard, is I have to top it up here.
That's okay.
Actually,
That's the
that's
missing link.
Yeah.
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 So it's bounded here on this.
Yes. Because there's no way that we'd also don't want that. For you to have your
That's your question.
Exactly.
You do I know you do off-chain computation. Do you do for if I submit data, let's say I want to have a workflow that posts in sensitive data from my API, would the network be able to see that data because they have to process it?
Yes, we just had that question actually before. So we're implementing secret sharing at the moment. So it will be possible to have certain parts of your workflows to be secret. Now, as soon as it's on chain, everyone is visible. But there's
So you already just publish the result of the computation on chain.
Exactly. So the result will be public, but it's like the inputs of the executions, the nodes need to have them, but not necessarily clear text. So, you know what I mean?
So you would
It's secret sharing. It's the same problem you have with in API search, and that's actually only a problem for centralized calls once again. That's why there's always this, how do you make Web 2, Web 3 interface, which is but that's how it's being implemented. It's not live at that part, but that's something we're currently developing.
Are you going to monetize that and me as a user having to pay a fee for it to be secret?
Yes, no, actually good question, but potentially yes, because how monetization is implemented is that it's gas. So you pay gas fees anyways, right?
Okay, you get it.
And which should do also transactions. And this is currently set to 0, but how it will work is that depending on the complexity of your workflow, that each action in the workflow has a price. And it's just added to your workflow, added to your gas fee. So you will have a bit of a higher gas fee when you execute it, but you don't have to, no credit cards required or nothing. And it might very well be that the secret sharing is a computationally more intense process, that it has a higher price.
Yeah, but as a user, I may be willing to pay.
Exactly.
Exclusively because of the security, maybe just for a frame, flow that only serves people once.
Correct. And actually, gas is a good one because what this allows you to do, you can bundle stuff, right? Instead of having to execute something every single time, you can say, okay, I wait until I have, for example, 1 ETH in my Polygon or my, let's say, my daily wallet, and once it's 1 ETH, I transfer it to a secure wallet or something.
Your nerve nodes are not on a chain, they're just a network. You don't have to worry about history and immutability and stuff like that.
Exactly, that is the beauty of it. So that's what, so Nerve
So
itself
your
doesn't,
state works fine, it's just like you fuck up, you take your
Yes.
whatever.
so Nerve doesn't really have state. Nerve has only to know what is its workflow configurations and what in certain things for slashing, right, and stating. But that means that you can scale it horizontally. If basically network is full, we just add more nodes, and you basically start splitting up, and that kind of takes away this complexity you have with sharding in a the problem of sharding is state. You need to know what is the other shard having, and Nerve is just streaming whatever is on chain currently. So it just needs to know the current kind of state of whatever chain it's automating, and then you can scale it like this.
And I'm assuming people will be able to be nodes and spin up their own nodes?
Exactly. So the idea, go to market here, is we're running the nodes now, and then first, because you have the nothing at stake problem, obviously. So how we're planning to do that is that in the first step, we're actually currently in touch with a bunch of large known node runners. So they don't have any incentive to kind of cheat because they have too much to lose. And once the network is large enough, we open it up and allow basically anyone to run it.
I was trying to make the connection with the
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, your time.
I have some slides for everyone. Yeah, my coordinator is going to give you. It's just like we're running currently this little meta hackathon. So if you build something or use it for your own project, because we're trying to figure out like what are people building in there. That's exactly. You can get some cool prizes.
I'm going to make some CDs.
Nice.
Nice. Thank you. Now